G'day guys, before we hop into today's vlog, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. From now on, I'm going to be putting out daily vlogs every single day. I'm going to be tracking my process, playing these 1-2-6 max games, hopefully moving up in stakes. But even if I don't, you'll get to watch me fall on my face every single day on this YouTube channel. So make sure you hit subscribe so you get the new videos as they come out every single day. For now, onto the vlog. G'day everyone, welcome back to the vlog. It is currently about 10 past 5 a.m. Yet another cold Melbourne morning here. I'm hungry, I'm tired, but I'm glad that I woke up early this morning. Slept in a bit yesterday and it ended up costing me a bit of productivity, leaving me a bit stressed throughout the day. So hopefully I'm going to be much more chill and able to focus throughout these 1,500 hands of poker that I'm planning to play later on. You know I'm going to get my feet in first, got to cook some brekkie right now, then we'll get into the poker. Okay, so it's about 5 to 6 a.m. at the moment, got a full feed in and I'm feeling much better as I typically am after having breakfast. About to hop in and play a bit of poker, but before I do, my friend on Instagram, Chingy, shout outs to Chingy, but he did tag me in this stupid Instagram challenge where I have to do 20 bodyweight squats. That's all I have to do to complete it. So got to get those out of the way before we hop into the poker. Okay, so we just done those. Actually feel pretty good after it. You know, who would have thought physical exercise can actually make you feel pretty good? Maybe I should do that every morning. We'll see. Regardless, so with that out of the way, let's get into the poker. Today, as always, we're going for the 1,500 hands of A-grade level play. I think to get to that A-grade level play today, I'm just going to have to continue practicing self-talk. Considering I did wake up early this morning, I should not have an issue getting the volume in, so I can just focus on the self-talk, making sure I do make logical decisions in the right spot. So that's going to be what I'm going to focus on for today's session to try and reach that A. Now let's go get in the game. Okay, so it is about 3:30 p.m. here at the moment in Melbourne. I've wrapped up my second poker session for the day. Ended up playing a total of 7 hours and 3 minutes today for a grand total of 1,625 hands. So yet again, smashed that 1,500 hand goal out of the park. Games were going a bit slower today, so it did take me, I got less hands in 7 hours than I typically would, but no complaints here because I ran fairly well across the session, ended up making 225 on the session, so pretty happy with that. As far as the gameplay grade for this session goes, I'm going to give myself a B on the session. I do feel like I played logically for the most part. I did practice a lot of self-talk throughout the decisions I was making across the session, but I did identify one leak that I didn't think was a big deal, but looking back over the course of this session and actually all the other sessions I've played online, I actually think it's a pretty significant leak. It's probably cost me over 1,000 at that point. And what the leak is, it's something very specific that you wouldn't think happens that often. But when you're playing 1,500 hands a day, it actually happens probably more common than you'd think. And what I'm talking about is a short stack with like sort of a stack that's, 50 big blinds or less. They'll open like 3x and then I'll 3-bet them with a hand like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. Then they call the 3-bet and then the flop comes out like 10 high, for example, 9 high, something like that. Then they'll go all in and I'll sort of shrug and call it off with ace high, figuring that they might be bluffing with something. But every time they've gone all in and I've called with ace high, they've been going all in with a pair that's looking for protection by shoving. So I actually think, as weird, because this has probably happened to me 3 times in this session. I can remember several other instances where this exact same thing has happened over the past few weeks. And I think calling off with ace high there, it's actually a really big leak. And I've probably lost like I wouldn't say thousands, but probably over 1,000 just calling off in these, little $50, $60 pots. So I think I'm going to have to start folding the ace high and look to call down with stronger hands, even in those small pots. Because whilst they're small and you might not think it'll affect your results, over the long run, if you pay off every single time when your opponent's allowing you to fold, like play perfectly against their all-in and fold your ace highs and just call with your overpairs, then it's sort of a spot where you can actually crush them by doing that. Of course, I'm doing the reversing and getting crushed by these short stacks. So I did that again, probably 3 times today, but I do like that I've identified this leak and it is not going to happen from now on. Definitely adjusting our strategy in those spots specifically. So disappointed that I did fall for it again a few times in this session, but I'm stoked that going forward it won't be an ongoing issue for me anymore, hopefully. So I'm not going to waste today's hand history on one of those hands I was talking about from the leaks I identified, because honestly they're pretty boring from a strategy standpoint. So don't worry though, I do have a more interesting strategy hand for you guys, and this is it. The action folds to an unknown hijack. They go ahead and open it up to 4. The action gets back to me in the small blind, and I have pocket 10s. I think I have a pretty easy decision to go ahead and 3-bet pocket 10s here. If you do want to figure out a strategy where you have hands that call in the small blind, I think pocket 10s might be one of those hands to use, but for my strategy, I really don't like calling with any hands in the small blind, mostly because I hate calling out of position and having to play a hand out of position. So I go ahead and 3-bet it up. 16, then the action gets back to the hijack, and they throw in the 4-bet. They go ahead and make it 35. Action comes back to me here, and I think there is some merit to going ahead and folding pocket 10s right now. If you do have a read that your opponent is very tight, they're only 3-betting like aces, kings, ace, king type stuff. I think there is some merit to just folding the pocket 10s now, but against an unknown opponent, particularly when we're over 300 effective in the stack, we're almost getting direct odds to even set mine if they do have a tight range. And also it's an unknown opponent, so we can't just go ahead and assume they have a tight range. So I do decide to go ahead and call here. So we go heads up to a flop, and the flop is deuce, deuce, deuce. So we flop a full house. Having said that though, I do have a lot of concern that my opponent does have a stronger overpair than my 10s. So I better go ahead and check it to them, see what they do. They go ahead and bet 36. Then the action's back on me, obviously, and I think I have a pretty easy decision to call on this flop. I think raising my full house here will be a bit of an overplay, especially considering my opponent does have a bunch of better full houses in their range, and if they are bluffing, they're just going to fold that when I raise, which I don't want either. So pretty easy call on this street. So we go heads up to a turn. So the turn is the 6 of clubs, so I go ahead and check it to the aggressor. Then they keep on aggressing. They go ahead and bet 72. Obviously a pretty sick spot with pocket 10s here. Like I said on the flop, I was very concerned that my opponent does have stronger full houses in their range. Obviously aces, kings, queens, maybe even jacks that 4-bet. So it's definitely concerned that I'm behind here. I do think it is somewhat possible that my opponent 4-bet a hand like ace, king, and that they're just continuing to barrel as a bluff. Having said that though, I do think we have better hands in our range to call down with than pocket 10s. Like we called the 4-bet pre-flop, right? So I can definitely have queens, maybe even kings or aces that didn't 5-bet. I might 5-bet those sometimes. But I just think like queens, jacks are probably better hands to call this turn bet with than pocket 10s. Think maybe I was a bit undisciplined in this spot, and maybe I just really put a lot of merit into my opponent could be bluffing with ace, king. And I do decide to defend here with the pocket 10s. I think I wouldn't do that again if I had this decision back, however. Regardless though, I make what I now think is a mistake and call. Then we go heads up to a river. The river is the 3 of spades, so obviously a pretty big brick. I go ahead and check it to the aggressor, and yet again, they keep on aggressing. They go ahead and rip it all in for about 200. Action's back on me here, and obviously I'm hating life with my pocket 10s. Well, I still think, like I've said this whole hand, it's very likely my opponent does have a stronger full house. Obviously they've got a bunch in their range, aces, kings, queens, maybe even jacks. So like I said on the turn, I already thought it was close on the turn. I think I made a mistake by calling on the turn, but I'm definitely not going to double down on that mistake by calling here now that I've got a worse price, now that my opponents continue to represent strength. So I think with pocket 10s here, I have a pretty clear fold, and that's what I do decide to do in game. Fortunately, I think I'll call down if I have queens or jacks. Like those hands would just be better to call with. Tens is just a bit too loose in my opinion though, so I do lay it down. So it's not the first time I've folded a full house on the river in this vlog. Kind of wish I outdid myself in this particular hand and ended up folding a full house on the turn, but apparently I'm not at that level yet. So that's going to wrap up the vlog for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get these daily vlogs. For now, I'm out of here. Peace.